afternoon, my little ones. Welcome back. Remember, we were doing a very beautiful story, a story based on a king and his three beautiful princesses, right? You remember? We were doing a graphic adaptation of Shakespeare's King Lear and about his three daughters, Goneril, Regan and Cordelia. Yes, I have them right here. Yeah, can you see? King Lear, Cordelia, Goneril and Regan. Okay, let us continue with the next half of the chapter. But before we start, I would like to ask you a few questions based on last time's prose what we read. Okay, do you think Cordelia loved her father the most? Do you think so, children? I think so. Yes, she was true to her father. She was not like Regan and Goneril, who are trying to boast about the love that they possess for their father. I definitely don't think they were trying to, Cordelia was trying to boast like them. Okay, and her love for her father was true and genuine. Okay, so she dearly loved her father and she gave him the correct and the most appropriate answer. I definitely think Cordelia was the one who loved her father the most. Okay, and we also think that the king was being unfair by throwing her out of the kingdom, by disowning her and by dividing her part of the kingdom amongst Goneril and Regan. Let's see if our assumption is going to be true. The King of France was in the court when Cordelia was asked to leave. He thought of her as simple and honest and hence wished to marry her. Cordelia agreed and they leave for France. I hope my sisters take good care of my old father. I am really worried about his health, says Cordelia. King Lear decided to stay with his eldest daughter. He soon found out that Goneril was only after his kingdom. She did not take care of him. Soon, King Lear realized that his second daughter was equally cruel and selfish. He thinks, I would rather beg on the streets than be disrespected by my daughters. Oh, how I miss Cordelia today. Meanwhile, Cordelia was worried about her father's health. England and France were at war with each other at that time. As she was the Queen of France, she could not enter England anymore. Thus, she decided to attack England and rescue her father. However, the French army is defeated by the English and she is imprisoned. Cordelia is surprised to meet her father there. Her father says, don't laugh at me, young lady. Perhaps I am being foolish, but you look like my daughter Cordelia. Cordelia and Lear are overjoyed to meet each other after such a long time. Cordelia says, yes, father, I am. I am your Cordelia. I have been looking all over for you. Finally, I have found you. Father, I will never let you go. The father says, forgive me, my child, for I am old and foolish. I have caused you a lot of... The story goes that the second half of the story is now that King Lear has disowned his own daughter. Okay, and that is his third and most most beloved child, the youngest Cordelia. Okay, he has already disowned her. Now Cordelia, what happens? She gets married to the King of France and she moves to France. Now King Lear, he stays with his eldest daughter Goneril. He stays with his eldest daughter Goneril. But soon he comes to know that Goneril actually doesn't love him. Okay, she is very, very selfish. So he leaves Goneril and he goes to live with Regan. Okay, he goes to live with his second daughter, that is Regan. Even Regan, she mistreats her father. So her father finally comes to know that it is none another than Cordelia who dearly loved him. Okay, and he really misses her. So he thought, I would rather beg on the streets than stay with my two other daughters who are being disrespectful towards me. Now what happens? He was the King of England and Cordelia, she was the Queen of France. Now England was having a war with France. Okay, and soon Cordelia comes to know that her father is somehow imprisoned because of her two sisters. Okay, so poor King Lear, in spite of being the king of an entire kingdom and having three daughters to look after, there was nobody out of the eldest two who were able to love and care for her, for their own father. Okay, so finally he's imprisoned, and Cordelia, now she was the Queen of France. Now France was having a war with England, so she thinks it's better I have a war with England, okay, defeat England and rescue my father. So she wanted to rescue her father. She wanted to let him out of jail and into the free world. She wanted to bring him back with her, and she wanted to really love and take care of her father, right? So she thought of having a war with England. So what happens is France and England are having a war, but ultimately the English army, they defeat France. Okay, the English army, they defeat the French army and they catch hold of Cordelia and they imprison her. Okay, when she is put behind bars in the prison, she meets her beloved father. Okay, there is a reunion. There is a daddy and daughter reunion wherein Cordelia comes to know how her father was ill-treated by her two mean and selfish, greedy sisters. Okay, so she already knew that they were greedy, but somehow she could not explain to her father. But through his own actions and deeds, the father comes to know that the other two were really greedy little children, and that is how he comes to know the true love which Cordelia has for him. They reunite and they beg for forgiveness from each other, and Cordelia forever promises her father that she's going to love and take care of him and never let him go anywhere in this world. My dear children, our parents love and take care of us right from when we are born, from the day we open our eyes and are exposed to this world. It is our duty to take care of them as they grow old and they are weak. It is our duty to love and nourish and take care of our parents the way they do their entire life. Okay? I know all my children are really lovely children. They all listen to their parents. They all love their parents dearly. And I'm sure you're going to do this when you grow up. And now I hope you all loved this beautiful story which we taught you. And hope to see you next time with another interesting chapter or a poem. But Before we wind up, let's see some new words and a small assignment for you. Till then, children, bye-bye. Honest, worried, cruel, selfish, beg, imprisoned, rescue, foolish, attack, surprised. Assignment. Whom amongst King Lear's daughters loved him the most? Just a